18th century jobs are no joke. But could you ask for a better workplace? Fresh air, good exercise, and the pure satisfaction of knowing that your hard work directly helps your community thrive. I mean, things were pretty black and white back then. Or were they? Welcome to Ross Farm in New Ross, Nova Scotia, where the 1800s are back, baby, in full glorious color. Now, if I was a male farmhand in the 1800s, I'd have been driving teams since I was big enough to hold the reins. But since I'm a newcomer, Lyndon over there is going to give me a crash course. Now, Lyndon, like everyone else here, has two sides to his job. He's a historical interpreter, and in Lyndon's case, a seasoned teamster. Lyndon! Well, I like it up here already.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's, no windscreen.
no windscreen, no fly screen either. I'm going to give you a little bit of instruction.
That's what I was hoping for.
Okay. What I want you to understand is that you have to keep your reins. These are your reins, and you have to keep them even. Okay?
Got it.
And how I do that is I look at those two buckles.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the middle, and if they're within 6 inches of each other, you've got them pretty even.
Okay, you got a little leeway then.
Little leeway.
All right.
If you want to turn to your right, you pull on the right rein.
Okay.
And what that'll do is it'll turn your noses to the right. And if you want to go to the left, you do the exact same thing. And you'll turn your nose to the left.
All right, and are there any brakes?
Right. And if you want to stop, and you will want to stop.
Eventually, maybe. I don't know.
What you do is keep your reins even, and you just put a little more extra tension on, and you just say, whoa.
What are their names? I didn't even meet the horses. I feel terrible.
Well, this one is Kate.
Okay.
Kate is 17 years old, and Clyde is 8. And what I do to get them going is I just move the reins a bit. And just a kiss. Okay, Zoe, we're going to give you the controls, and we'll let you take them down the road.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yep.
There we go.
What was different about your kiss noise?
I'm a better kisser.
Jinx it, but I feel like I'm kind of getting the hang of it. Well, shall I hand the reins over?
Okay.
How'd I do?
You did it very well. You did very well. I'll give you a passing grade on that one.
So how long have you been driving?
I've been driving horses since I was about 5 years old.
5 years old?
I grew up on a farm north of Berwick. I had 9 brothers. We were all out hauling hay. I had to drive the horses while my older brothers loaded the hay on the wagon. And I learned how to drive very quickly with 6 or 7 older brothers yelling at you that you're going the wrong way. So.
My gosh, we don't even let 5-year-olds like ride bicycles these days.
Well, it was either me drive or or not get the hay in.
And did you love horses?
Actually, to tell you the truth, growing up, I really didn't like horses at all. Now, I wanted to drive a tractor. Everybody, all my friends in school were driving tractors, and I wanted to drive a tractor. Dad, he always said, well, he said, that's too bad what you want. He said, we got horses, and that's what we're going to use. So I learned how to use horses. That's what we did our farm work with.
No choice in the matter.
No choice in the matter. So I did a lot of different jobs over my life, though. I was a meat cutter by trade, and then I went horse logging. I had horses all the way through, but
so they grew on you.
Oh yeah.
Over time.
Well, I learned how to use them. So the Ross Farm here called me. They had a team. Kate was one of them, and they weren't broke. And wanted to know if I'd be interested in breaking a pair of horses for them. My original contract was for 3 months to break these horses. So.
And how long ago was that?
It was 11 years ago, the 5th day of January.
Oh, geez. So is there anything you haven't done with horses?
Not very much.
Have you ever rode one?
Oh, as kids, we rode for miles.
Yeah. So you're describing your actual present day life, but it doesn't sound much different than a life in the 19th century.
I often said that I was born in the wrong century.
Yeah.
As far as farm work goes, I've done everything with horses that there is to do.
Yeah. But you weren't born in the wrong century, because we need people with the experiences like you to pass them forward. Because, I mean, it's not a lost art, but it could be. You don't meet many people who've had so many years of experience.
There's a lot of visitors that come here to the museum just to have a wagon ride with me.
Yeah.
One of our past directors, she always said that I made everybody feel safe when they were on the wagon.
You're gonna make me cry now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't.
Don't be silly. It's lovely to hear, and it's really nice that you know that. You know, it's great. I can tell that it's definitely not your time to retire from here yet, but would you mind handing over the reins for another few minutes?
I would love to.
The fly? There we go.
In the 1800s, no community would be without a blacksmith shop. The blacksmith made and repaired everything from ox shoes to door hinges, a very important job on a rural farm. Sam is one of the blacksmiths at Ross Farm, and also one of the younger members of the Ross Farm team.
Oh, Sam, this is quite the shop.
Thank you.
It looks old.
It is old, about 1910 built. Joseph Morley built it. His son Jack took over after he passed and ran it right up until, well, now it's a museum piece.
And speaking of the gear, what is this interesting bit of equipment
This
that
is
we're
the
leaning
ox
on?
sling here. So this is used to shoe an ox. They can't stand on 3 legs. They're not built that way. Their balance doesn't work that way.
Oh,
So they come in the door in the sling. We put the sling under them. We don't lift them up because they're heavy, but we do pull this sling taut underneath of them, and that gives them a place to rest when we lift up 1 or 2 legs at a time to put the shoes on them.
How many oxen do you have on the farm here?
1 pair.
Oh, but you have this set up available to the actual local community too?
Yeah, anybody around with a pair of oxen can bring them up. We do 2 to 3 dozen in a year. 3 dozen would be a busy year.
How do you start out?
Well, when I was first here as a summer student, it was kind of just down here watching the smith work and then copying him and starting small, starting with a hook, then a fire poker, and then some other more intricate work for the gift shop and so on. After probably 3 or 4 years, maybe a little more, I started learning how to shoe oxen some. Just clinching at first, so cutting the nails off and bending them over once they're already on. But now I can shoe an entire ox.
So as a young child, were you dreaming of a future where you were in a blacksmith shop and...
Nope, regular school, regular growing up. Came here when I was 16 for a summer position. Farm called me and said, "You want to work blacksmith because you know what you're doing?" And I said, "Sure." So that was 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I've been here ever since.
Do you ever realize and think about how special it is that you're part of this long line, keeping history alive? And
Yeah, some. I mean,
know?
that is kind of the whole thing with this museum is it's not just artifacts, it's skills that are preserved and on display. So that's a nice feeling. And I learned from someone who shot oxen in their lifetime, for real, quote unquote, as a business, not as a museum worker, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to have that lineage.
Well, it's pretty inspiring what you do.
Yeah, thank you. And it's nice to work here with your hands and outside and with animals and so on. But,
Speaking of working with our hands, what are you going to get me to make?
well, I think we'll start you on a hook.
At the center of any old-time blacksmith shop is the forge, a hotbed of coal that's used to heat the metal. Once the metal's red hot, the blacksmith is able to work their magic.
Okay, pretty good there, yep.
Okay.
So strike while the iron's hot.
And you did this and just...
Back a little more. There you go. Chase the curl around.
Oh.
Yep, keep going. Keep going. There you go. Now take it, flip it over onto the face of the anvil and tidy it up how you like. You got to move your hand. There you go.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay. Oh.
And when you're happy with it, you can put it back in the fire. So for the next step here, all I'm going to do is take it out. I'm going to quench just the curl so we don't beat the curl off when we
So you're going to dip the end of it in the water.
just that curl.
Quench it. Okay.
And then I'm going to put the curl for the actual body of the hook. You'll see what I mean here
All
shortly.
right.
I'm going to quench just the last ½ inch of it until it's black like that. I'm going to put it on the horn,
Oh.
bring it around,
Yep.
and tidy it up however you like your hook to look.
Now I'm going to quench the
Just
very...
the curl.
Just the curl. Like that?
Yep. There you go. Yep. Yep.
I keep getting lower and I don't know why.
Now you can turn it around the other way and there you go.
And then more?
However you like.
I don't know how I want it. Okay, like that?
Yep, and then make sure it's flat this way.
This way.
And turn it over the other way and tap it some the other way. There you go. The next step, we'll the square hole in the end of the anvil, the hardy hole, and square bottom tools fit into it. Part of the cool thing about being a blacksmith is being able to make your own tools. For
That is
different
so
things.
cool.
It is
Yes.
handy, isn't it? So all we do for this is put it on the hardy, give it a good whack, turn it over, give it a good whack. This is pretty small stock, so it's not going to take too much to break off. In fact, just so it doesn't go flying across the room and hit someone, I'll just take it and put it in the treadle vise here.
The treadle vise.
Yeah, so that works with my foot, right?
Yeah, okay.
Which is handy, and then you can just snap it off.
Wow. All right, that felt elemental
There
in
you
every
go.
way. That's awesome. I'm going to use that. Thanks, Sam.
Oh, my pleasure.
We take a lot of things for granted in the 21st century, especially the unglamorous stuff that's tedious or time-consuming to make. For example, lots of us like to grow our own food nowadays, but in the 19th century, you'd have to ask yourself, what are we going to make to store it in? Walter is the local cooper. It's an age-old practice, and one you just couldn't do without. Walter, how long have you been here?
Way too long.
Now, what's way too long?
Way too long is 38 years ago I started working for Ross Farm Museum.
So how do you go from, starting here and then being the chief cooper?
Not a plan of mine. It wasn't in the plans
You didn't want to be a cooper
no,
when you were a little boy?
plans whatsoever. The biggest draw ahead, I always loved history, and I love anything to do with history, but I really liked the gentleman that was working here.
Oh.
Me and him clicked, and we worked well together, and we got along great, and it was more me wanting to work with him than actually wanting to work with the barrels. And then the love of the barrel just naturally grew. The Ross Farm's been great like that. They will put you where you want to be. And that's it. If you enjoy what you're doing, you're going to do a good job at it.
It's pretty special what you do here. Is it one of the last sites where you're making these barrels in the old way?
There's very few of us left. Special today, very commonplace is a cardboard box. Back in the history of this Nova Scotian apple barrel. Still commercially used and produced up till 1968. So it's not as ancient as what people think it is. But as far as an industry for Nova Scotia, the Annapolis Valley, local rural farmers. It was highly valuable to every one of them. Our fishing industry. In New Ross, in the 1870s, we had roughly about 1,600 people living in the area. By the 1880s, we had over 90 cooper shops.
90.
So you coopered,
Wow.
I coopered, somebody else coopered. If one person didn't cooper, it's because they were working for us.
Wow. So,
Hugely important economic driver for a rural area.
okay, so that's a really accurate thing that's happening on the site. When would it have been shut down here on the farm?
After the Second World War,
Okay.
economics in the world started changing. We started becoming modern refrigeration techniques, modern handling techniques, and the barrel kind of became a museum piece after that.
So what does the future hold for you?
I hope more barrels.
More of the same.
More barrels. Knock on wood, still fit and healthy, and I enjoy what I'm doing, so why change it?
What a life.
Yeah.
What more could you ask for?
I don't ask for anything anymore.
Well, I'd like to ask if there is a chance that I could make a barrel.
Would you like to make a barrel?
I would very much like
I would
to.
love to get you making a barrel.
All
I
right.
think it'd be fantastic. Can you count to 15?
Yes.
That's our only requirement. That's our only requirement we need to make a barrel is to count to 15. So we are going to start with a thing we call a barrel stave. Well, this is our barrel stave, cut to a very specific shape, wider in the middle, narrow in each end.
And it's got a nice
Yep.
curve on it.
We got a nice curve on it. If we see curvature this way on our stave, and a bit of an undercut on the angle. This is why we need 15.
Okay.
This angle is made to 12 degrees, which fits with 15 staves in our barrel to make 360 degrees.
Okay.
Barrels were a standard measure. So if you have a liter of gas, you want it to be a liter of gas. This was a 3-bushel measure. We wanted every barrel that we make to be that standard 3-bushel measure.
Although simple in design, wooden barrels require a fair amount of strength. First, the wooden staves are arranged, with the final one being hammered into place. Next, a rope is wrapped around the top of the barrel and a pulley is used to pull the staves together. A metal ring is placed around the staves to hold them in place, and the entire barrel is lifted onto the stove and heated to shape the wood. The barrel is then lifted into the clamp to secure it in place, and a variety of tools are used to shape the end where the lid will be installed. Finally, flexible willow that's been soaked in water is wrapped around the barrel to hold the staves permanently in place.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
That
it's
was
my pleasure. I had a great time this morning.
me too. I learned a lot.
Before you go, I have one more job for you. I would like you to get 2 of our buckets and take it up to the farmhouse, to the ladies in the farmhouse.
I can do it.
Okay.
And it doesn't sound nearly as dangerous as everything else I just did.
The farmhouse at Ross Farm is original to the property and is the center of the farm's activities. This is where the original Ross family lived up until not that long ago, and it's steeped in local history. Blythe Appleby showed me around.
Hello, I've got apple barrels for us.
Well, thank you very much. But if you want to come inside, you're going to have to dress properly.
Oh, okay.
Welcome, welcome.
Oh, okay, this is amazing. Wow, what a place. How did I do?
You did very well. Just while you're inside, you can feel free to take off your fuchsia and your bonnet.
What's the fichu?
The scarf.
Oh, this, okay. Oh, that does feel good. And if I got the right ribbons?
Yes, indeed.
Ooh, I don't want to reveal too much. Take off too many layers. That feels great. Well,
Come on in.
thanks. The effect is really complete. Like when you're dressed up and then you come in and it really is like being in a totally different world.
It's quite an experience.
You get to do this every day.
I do. I'm very fortunate.
All right, so you love your job, right?
I really do.
Tell me about how you got interested in,
it's a mix of things, right? Like historical reenactment and interpretation guides.
Exactly.
But then you're doing this stuff too. You're making everything.
Yes, everything like that bonnet you're holding, that would have been made by hand.
Even this.
Yes.
Blythe, I didn't even realize. That is incredible. What is the part of your job that attracted you the most, that got you into this field?
Definitely the whole idea of being dressed up and being in a historic site. It seemed a lot like stepping back in time for me. And I have been doing reenactment for probably since I was 12 years old. And so I kept on trying to work at a place where I would be able to do that every single day.
And what is it about this time period that attracts you?
Well, that kind of goes back to when I started doing costuming. So I started learning how to hand sew and sew historical costumes from scratch. And it was my sister and I, in the heart of COVID, we realized that it was possible to be able to do this together and draft our own patterns. And we took a look at the Regency outfit with the simple lines. We thought, that probably would be the easiest historical period to start with. So we did. We created complete wardrobes, and I had always gone to Ross Farm as a child. So for me, realizing that that was the same time period that I loved to sew for was a bit of a bonus.
Oh my gosh, so this is like the pinnacle.
Yes.
That is incredible. And you made these dresses, the bonnets, the hat, which is blowing my mind. And what was that called again?
The fichu.
The fichu. And I must say, it's all very comfortable.
It is pretty cozy.
And what is the most fun for you?
Oh, that's really difficult to say. I love the cooking. I love being able to do all of the hands-on skills that we try to keep going here that otherwise would have been lost.
I had a great time outside working as a male farmhand, but it was really thirsty work. I was wondering, I am not seeing any kind of modern plumbing, but do you have anything to drink?
We certainly do. I think it's tea time.
Excellent. And why is the kitchen out here on its own?
Well, this is called the summer kitchen. So the theory is that you can cook and bake out here and light a fire and close that door and keep the rest of the house cool. So it'll be nice and hot in here and theoretically nice and cool in the rest of the house.
So you're only baking in here,
Yes.
not baking in the house.
Exactly.
Yeah, because with all these layers, I can see how that would get mighty stuffy.
It does.
Oh, is this the living room?
This is the parlor.
Oh, the parlor, fancy.
This would be the formal entertaining space for the Ross family. This is where they would have had their guests after dinner.
How did the museum actually acquire the house?
Well, it was owned in the 1960s by Nina White, and she was a Ross descendant, but she was also a widow, and she had 8 children. So the farm was a bit too much work for her, and so she decided to give the house and the farm and the property to Nova Scotia Museum in exchange for a brand new little white bungalow just across the road, and it had running water and electricity and all the things that she didn't get to have here.
What? So she just made an offer like, I'll give you my old house
Exactly.
if you give me a new house.
Yes.
Were there any other codicils?
Well, they plowed her garden every year because they would have had the horses and the plows here.
Oh my God.
And also she had her special cookie recipe, her molasses cookies that she baked and served to visitors. And so that was one of the conditions of making this a museum, was that we continue to bake her cookies and serve them to people who came here.
Okay, that is one savvy lady. She's like, new house, plow my field every year, and also make me famous in the world of cookies.
Exactly. Definitely.
Shall we?
We shall.
Take a turn about the house. This is a bit of a tight squeeze.
It is. Imagine doing it with a candle and a baby.
The farmhouse, cooper's shop, and blacksmith shop aren't the only places to visit on Ross Farm. The museum has over 60 acres of farmland, outbuildings, and forest paths for you to explore, as well as a variety of seasonal activities for the whole family. My favorite part, of course, is just being able to experience what life was like 100 years ago.
I've been completely transported to a bygone place and time, and I couldn't have asked for better guides than the wonderful people here at Ross Farm, who've made it their mission to live history so that others can experience it too. I don't really want to go back to the 21st century. I love it here. Oh wait, what's that building? I didn't see that before. What happened to my... Blythe? What happened to our clothes?
Clothes? We've got some t-shirts here if you're looking for those.
No.
Otherwise, if you're looking for a souvenir, we've got some postcards over there.
Okay, thanks.